So we were talking about rabbits.
Yes.
The other possibility for this space that I could see, if you wanted to really get hardcore into rabbits and get a lot more intensive about that kind of stuff, you could keep your rabbits in here, and you have power in here. You already have a window unit up there. If you wanted to, if you wanted or needed to have year-round rabbit production, I would strongly consider going from maybe the outside of that bed, maybe just this side, and putting in, so you can get top rail chain link fence tubing and benders. You can get an arc bender online for like $60. You could probably do the math and just do it yourself. It's just plywood and some blocks of wood. And you just bend it into the arc, and you just stick it in one side and you just bend it down, and then boom, there's your bent. You could take that and arc it up to an anchor point up here, and you could put shade cloth on it, which would keep this a lot cooler. And then you could either use greenhouse plastic, or you could get regular glass windows from like Habitat for Humanity, or sliding glass doors are another great option. They would probably fit in here, maybe. And you could turn this into a little bit of a greenhouse space, but if you had a window unit, you could keep this ambient temperature down to tolerable. See, at a certain temperature, a buck will go sterile. So if you had all your breeding stock in here, and your bunnies growing out in tractors or in grow-out cages, then your concrete floor is easy to clean up. You just bring in wood shavings from like a local cabinet maker or something. They use vacuum systems for all their routers. The router shavings just get vacuumed up and blown down into great big bags. You can bring those bags down and dump them on the floor to absorb all that. Or you go with the worm bins, like I talked about. Almost no smell. The earthworms utilize all that manure, and you could keep rabbits cool in here. If you needed, like, we need to make a lot of protein every week kind of thing, you could have batch after batch of bunnies ready to harvest. So just keep that in the back of your mind in case that becomes a need. This would be a really good use for that. Alternatively, I mean, this kind of storage space is really valuable, really nice to have something out of the weather. I don't like it for gardening tools because it's way out of the way. Now, however, if you're coming out and coming down these steps to go out to the garden that way, and you had some gardening tools right along here, it's just you got your box right there. If you had some gardening tools right here, it's really easy to just grab them and go. So that might be a nice thing to use there. The other thing I can think of for this kind of space, let me look at the angles here. I mean, it's not a whole lot of time in the winter. I mean, half of it would be getting 1, 2, 3, about 5 hours of sun every day in the winter. So if you were spiderweb, if you were to do those arches like I talked about, and greenhouse plastic, frame both ends, you could turn this into a greenhouse space with maybe just a bunch of thermal mass on the backside, If you wanted to dabble in hydroponics or aquaponics, I'm willing to bet there's dirt underneath this. Probably a lot of subsoil and rocky grade material, but I mean, you could always come back to here, leave yourself a 2-foot wide walkway. Oh, you found the other one. And you could cut this out right here. Right. And you could build up a little bit of a raised box, maybe with a walkway in the center, or a walkway right here, something like that. Probably just right here where your entrance is. Give yourself a good 4 foot for any access way into there. And this could either be a raised earthen bed, and then you could have a raised earthen bed right here. So you could have a lot of in-ground growing. And then right here, on this nice concrete floor that's going to be really sturdy, you could, again, 4 foot. You already have looks like they had a doorway here. You could start from here and go all the way over there, and you could put wicking bed style or flood and drain style beds in here to do more of the aquaponics, hydroponics. And then all your fish stuff, some propagation benches, maybe a potting bench, your fish tanks. There's an IBC tank. Those kinds of things could all run out there. Any runoff, any clean out you do would all come out here and run down into your in-ground dirt growing right here. So you could actually just raise this up to where, you know, if you're sweeping stuff out or spraying stuff out, it'll spray out and down into your dirt growing solution right here. So this could turn into a really nice little greenhouse space that would take advantage of the thermal mass of all that soil behind it. And additionally, if you had, let's say you just line that whole backside in IBC totes, you could probably put more than 1,000 gallons back there in thermal mass. And that's concrete. So, I mean, now we're getting a little bit Paul Wheaton hippy-dippy, but I mean, you could always add in the corner with exhaust coming out over there, a rocket mass heater. Not saying that's the best solution, but if you really wanted some winter production that you could keep stuff nice and warm and growing all winter long, you can probably do that in here.
I never would have thought of that.
And I mean, if you're going with all the fodder trees, like I like to use for rabbits and your goats and sheep and stuff, you're going to end up with a lot of little stick wood that's either mulch material. You can put it through a wood chipper or use it as is, or you can dry it in racks and you can use it as fuel wood to heat a greenhouse with a J-tube style heater system. You could put that. I wouldn't want to use up that. That's probably the best spot for it right there.
Right. So to summarize, what I'm hearing is we don't do anything in the front yard, the cedar grove, the side yard, or the backyard. We focus on the side and the big acreage that's all wooded right now.
What I like to encourage people to do is focus on the things that will provide you with very nearly instantaneous benefit. That will benefit you long term, that will benefit you if you need an exit strategy. If you need an exit from the property, putting in a greenhouse is not going to, except for a select niche group, provide benefit. Improving the view, that's going to help your state of mind. If you're having a down day and you look out there and it's just beautiful and you can sip on a cup of coffee or tea or whatever and just breathe and just for peace of mind and de-stressing your life, that will do a tremendous amount, having the beauty of that. On top of that, fencing that, getting goats or sheep in there to start working that for you means it opens up a whole list of possibilities.